Welcome back for the One More Rose. Today we have a special guest, Lucy.
Thank you for having me, Rose. I'm so thrilled to be here.
To get started, Lucy, can you tell for us a little bit about yourself and your nurse journey?
I'm a pediatric registered nurse and I'm a mum of two young, boisterous, busy boys. I'm also the co-owner of Shoreside Physio along with my husband. So my nursing journey started, I graduated from year 12 and went on to university to study nursing. And then following that, I did a new graduate year, which involved a mixed rotation of different wards. My favourite was paediatrics. It's not an area that I ever thought I would work in. I was more interested in nursing in critical care or emergency kind of areas, but when I went into paediatrics, I ended up staying for 6 months of that first year because I just loved it so much. So following my first year out, I then specialised in paediatrics and emergency, and I loved both of them. Emergency is really fast-paced, really challenging, lots of different things come in through the doors, and I really loved that every day was different and every day had different challenges. Pediatric nursing, it's a different kind of nursing. It's kind of caring for the whole unit. There's a lot of range of what will come through the doors in terms of pediatrics, a big range of age groups from 0 to 16 years. And I really love that side of things. So following my second year, I decided to get out of the fast pace of the emergency environment and go back to pediatrics, where I went on to study a graduate certificate in pediatric nursing. I did take a break while I had children. So I did take a break from nursing whilst I had my children and whilst they were young. And I've slowly come back into nursing. And it's been really nice. I think now working in pediatrics, it gives me a really good experience having my own children and developing better care for children and young families and knowing kind of what they're going through.
What inspired you to become a nurse?
So the things that inspired me to become a nurse is I've always loved helping people. I'm a really big empath. And during school, especially my last sort of years at school, I did biology and I really loved kind of the science behind things. And nursing kind of offered a mix between science and kind of caring for people. So I thought it was a good thing to get into. It was a 3-year degree as well at university, which I found really appealing at the time because it's only such a short degree. And the other thing is with nursing, you can get into so many different avenues with nursing. You can travel, you can become an army nurse, for example, or work on cruise ships. There's so many opportunities with nursing. It's not just one qualification and one avenue. But yeah, my passion is really pediatric nursing. I'm really passionate about supporting families through challenging times.
You had your first baby during the COVID and 2020. What was that experience like for you as a new mom?
Yeah, obviously it was challenging. As you said, I did have my first baby in January 2020, and I know you also had a baby around that time, Rose.
Yeah.
That's how we met.
Yeah.
My baby was only 6 weeks of age when the stay-at-home orders began in New South Wales. So obviously 6 weeks is the time when you're feeling kind of more confident as a mum. You feel like you can get out a bit more, and then there were these orders to stay at home. 6 weeks was also the time when my husband went back to work and he was working in the hospital at the time, so had to go to work. There was no stay-at-home orders for him, so he had to go to work during that time. And obviously because we were all required to stay at home, I was separated from my family and friends. At the time, my family lived some distance away, so they couldn't travel either. So it was a really kind of isolated time. And I think it was a really fearful time. I had this new baby and was really worried about COVID, and we didn't know at the time what to expect from it. We didn't know what was happening, how severe it was going to be. So I was trying to protect my baby as well throughout this time. And I was really worried about my husband, who was working in a hospital, potentially bringing home COVID to the baby. It added another element. So yeah, it was a really isolating kind of environment. I know you and I met Rose during our mothers group at that time.
Yep.
And they had all pivoted to kind of online mothers groups. So there was pros and cons to that. Like, I guess, we did get to connect in a different way. And it was always really handy to be able to mute as well when our babies were crying or going wild. So we could just mute ourselves and pretend like they weren't. So that was really handy. I guess through that time as well, we used to be able to exercise. So I used to put my baby in a little carrier and walk him down the beach each day. And in doing so, I met a lot of locals on the walk who were also doing their exercise for the day. And what's been really great is these local, so they've been able to watch him grow up from a little baby into a little boy. And it's been good. Like, that bond and that connection probably wouldn't have formed otherwise. So that's been really nice to come out of COVID.
What advice would you give to new moms today?
Be kind to yourself, be kind to other mums. Don't compare yourself to others. I know there's a lot of information out there on social media, on Instagram. Don't compare yourself or your journey to other mothers. You know your child best. Trust your instincts and trust that you know what's best for your child. I would say to ask for help when you need it. And also find your village. Your village may not look like a family network that's nearby, but it may look like mums that you get together with and have a coffee and the kids play. Find your village that works for you and lean on it. I guess parenting as well isn't about perfection either. There's no perfectionism in parenting. There's no perfect parent. So I really hope that people listen to that. And connection and community are incredibly important when raising children.
You are also a co-owner of Shoreside Physio. Can you tell us a bit about the business and the service you offer?
Yeah, so Shoreside Physio is owned by my husband and I. We saw a need for physiotherapy services in the local community, so we did that. We opened the business about 3 years ago and it's been really successful. We started the business when my son was only about 12 months of age. We started planning and organising for the business. I am very much behind the scenes in the business, doing a lot of admin kind of work, a lot of bookkeeping, and Joe sort of does the daily running of the business. He's the physiotherapist, so he's very much the brains behind the business. He's very skilled at what he does, and I think he really enjoys giving back to his community as well. He's really enjoyed the transition to community practice from an acute care setting, because I think in acute care setting you see people for a very short amount of time, whereas working in community you see them for a longer period of time and you get to see the improvements on their quality of life, which is really rewarding. So whilst the business has been hugely successful, it has also been a very busy time for us, very kind of stressful at times, but it is super rewarding and we're very lucky that it has been so successful.
What piece of advice can you share with our listeners?
So in terms of advice, I always come back to the Roosevelt quote about the arena and the men in the arena. So I guess as mothers and as women, we're in that arena, and our arena is very much different to other people's arenas. Like, nobody has parented our child, nobody has parented our children. Our life experiences are different to other people's. But I think as women and mothers, if we can stand together in each of our arenas, and rather than judging or criticising, could we offer support, encouragement and understanding? And could we empower each other? Because I think motherhood and womanhood is hard enough, and women are the strongest when we connect, uplift and empower one another. And that's what I'd like to leave people with.
Thanks so much, Lucy, to join us today on One More Rose.
No worries, Rose. It's been a blast. Thanks for having me. And everyone, like and subscribe to One More Rose, and certainly consider coming on.
Yeah, thanks so much. See you
Thanks.
next time.
Bye.
Bye.